It was a day they had dreaded, but it was a day when the warmth of the spring and of the crowds eased their step and turned a solemn march into a bright and historic pageant. It was to be a massive procession full of pomp, but it began with a simple act. Borne by 8 soldiers of the Irish Guards, the Queen Mother's coffin left the Queen's Chapel at St James's Palace, where her body has lain for days. It was draped in her personal standard, topped with a single wreath and surmounted by the crown she wore at the coronation of her husband, King George VI, 65 years ago. Behind, sombre and ready for a march that would not be easy for them, Princes Harry and William. It moved off to the salvos of gunners firing a royal salute, the first of 28, one for every minute of the march. Down the Mall, 3 generations of royals, led by the Duke of Edinburgh, himself 80 years old. Beside him, Princess Anne, who had asked the Queen Mother if she might break with tradition and walk with the men at her funeral. And Prince Charles, honouring the grandmother he called magical. 1,600 soldiers, sailors and airmen followed, this the biggest royal procession in 40 years. It was an historic route, the Mall built as a memorial to Queen Victoria, in whose reign the Queen Mother was born. Her cortege passing the statue of her husband. The Queen Mother never passed here without acknowledging it. Then across Horse Guards Parade, where she celebrated her centenary. By now, the procession was almost half a mile long. The coffin passing under Horse Guards Arch, where for almost 80 years the Queen Mother would stand to watch trooping the colour. Prince Charles too has been this way before, following the coffin of his wife. For them all, the Queen Mother's marks the 3rd death in their immediate family in 5 years. The spring sunshine was glorious, the silence of the crowds profound, as the cortege neared the cenotaph, the memorial to the dead of 2 world wars and others since. Here, every year, the Queen Mother paid homage to the war dead, including her own brother Fergus, killed in 1915. And here, she made one of her final public appearances 5 months ago. On past Downing Street, astonishingly, the Queen Mother knew 20 Prime Ministers. She was also the last Empress of India. Her crown encrusted with an Indian diamond, the most dazzling and famous in the world. On the wreath, a card from the Queen. In loving memory, it reads, Lilibet, the family name the young Elizabeth was known by. Towards Westminster, the crowds swelled now by thousands of tourists, but filled by the tens of thousands for whom she was simply the Queen Mum. The procession had cut through the heart of London and through the hearts of all who saw it, nearly 500,000 people. It had taken exactly 28 minutes, bang on time. She had helped to plan it. It had been to the second, exactly as she would have wanted it. The ceremonial and the sacred came together in Westminster Hall, where she was lifted and placed on the spot where her husband had rested so long ago.
We remember before thee our sister, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. We give thanks for her example of faithful duty and unwearied service, and for the loyalty and love which she inspired.
4 officers of the Household Cavalry became the first to guard her coffin. Prince Charles and his brothers will take their turn. And here she will rest for 3 days in a hall built by the son of William the Conqueror, fitting for a queen so steeped in history. It was a short service for a long life, the Queen leading the mourners out. And as she drove away, the applause that had so marked Diana's funeral rang out. This was meant to be a year of golden celebration. So far, it has been anything but. The Queen said her mother had had a wonderful life. Later tonight, the vast crowds will be gone, the hall will be silent. But this will be a day that will not easily be forgotten. Bill Neely, ITV News.